Yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. We're here, we're here, we're here. And we have been pushing you with much love and patience for you to notice and recognize that this being wants to come in. You have not wanted to notice the difference between the genders because you see all souls in their complete potential and give them their respect to explore their journey. And so you didn't want to notice the difference between the genders because there truly isn't any. However, this is an important statement to make, and so that soul is coming in because she represented a powerful figurehead for women. And this is something that needs to be explored more because it seems as though, even though there are some predominant people now in power and position who are female, this has been a relatively new thing in history. There is, of course, the exception to some queens, and that is significant. But when you're born into a position of power, do you truly have respect? And this is part of the conversation we want to say today. We want to bring up the life of Joan of Arc. And it was her nobility to be leader while pretending to be male that was part of her charm and strength and power. This is significant, and it has been reminded to many that for a woman to succeed in a man's world, she must pretend to be masculine man energy, to be able to be ruthless, to shut off emotions, to shut off empathy, and to rule. It is significant how the gender role has been played out for humanity to grow. And it does appear for women to be trained to look after and nurture others more than looking and nurturing self. She has been taught that it is selfish for her to make herself a priority, put yourself last, don't be a selfish girl, tend to other people's needs before your own. This saying and this projection of how little girls should be is formed. Little girls grow up to be older ladies and women who feel that putting themselves first is selfish. They do not feel the love and support of everyone. They are merely meant to love and support all. And where do you find the strength to love and support all without burning oneself out and becoming completely empty and hollow with feeling recognized, respected? When you're giving to all, who gives to you? Sometimes you will find yourselves giving to all and feeling completely drained and exhausted and questioning why. Where is the return of this energy, this love, this dedication, and this compassion to all? And we say it's all within you. It always has been within you. While you were training to nurture and love all, you just forgot of self. You forgot to love and nurture all, including thyself. When you feel like you are to boost everyone up and to lift everyone above and beyond you, you are keeping yourself small. You are keeping yourself what you think is safe, because if you start projecting your belief systems of fairness versus being in fear, this is significant because when you keep projecting to the world all is well, all is well, there are great days coming, all is well. Attitude with gratitude is significant. When you come with that sunny side upliftment, because you want to lift everyone up, because you know that this is your role and duty to do such, and you are being criticized, heckled, dismissed, belittled, to not push them. They do not want to be pushed out of bed early to be doing their responsibilities. And yet, not only do you have to wake them up, you have to make the bed. You have to feed them. You have to wash them. You have to clothe them. You have to do everything for them and then put them back to bed where they will complain and resist, for you finally to have some time for yourself to be. And that is so exhausting, doing everything for everyone else, that when you do get that moment in time for you, it is not to reflect on what your own personal needs and desires and wishes and goals and dreams are. And so it is not selfish for you to reflect on self, reflect on your own thoughts, reflect on your own needs, to empower yourself, to love yourself, to heal yourself, to respect yourself, to ground yourself, and to honor yourself. And there are some women in history who were born into privilege, who were trained in well education, and who were significant role models for humanity. And yet the story cast upon them dismisses their true integrity, agenda, intelligence, moral compasses, compassion for humanity, and strength of self. When you do find women in history, they've had to be all. They've had to be all. They've had to be masculine in demanding commands, commanding respect and commanding to be listened to. It is a very challenging situation, because when there is leaders who are women, it is usually women who want to remind them and disempower them, to put them into place. Women are more vocal with their criticism, whereas men will just walk away and turn away. There is much to be said about the dynamics of respecting all and seeing all as equals. While the roles are being more flexible and fluid, this hasn't always been the case. And so what is trying to get back into track of who is responsible for raising children, for example, is now open for discussion, and it is not losing one's masculinity as a male to be the home provider carer for children and the upkeep of housework. This is an important stepping stone for humanity in general, to realize that they can do anything. And this is important for women to understand, that just because you're born into a gender does not mean you have certain assignments to play the role as mother. And we know that there are many volunteers here who have chosen not to have pregnancies because they knew that they would be distracted. When you are an empath and you've come down, and we're talking about the second wave volunteers here, when they come with extreme amounts of empathy, they know that if they had children, they would feel the range of emotions of great concern for the world, and they have been working hard to distract themselves from not noticing the challenges, the densities, and the heartbreak. People, even who seem like they are in a comfortable, happy routine, energetically, their souls are craving for more enlightenment and upliftment and more honoring of the soul's required experiences and journey on this planet. And it has forgotten what it chose to do and be here. But it has this nagging back of sense of self that there was something else they were supposed to do here, be here. It is confusing to them. And so those empaths can feel confusion, and tension and anxiety and confusion and angst and despair and bewilderment. And this makes those people who feel this, who know they're off path, think that if they just get that next promotion, if they just get that next latest materialistic item, this will fill that gap that they are sorely missing. And so there is so much we are trying to share in this message. It is about identifying that you can feel all range of emotions. And for empaths who have protected themselves from all emotions, because it can make you lose your way. And we want to say the word broken. When you feel too much of this energy and the emotions on this planet, you will become broken in despair and depressed with the density, the pressure of the density, the pressure of those heavier emotions will eclipse you, will drown you. It is challenging when you don't recognize that it is not your responsibility to carry the density of the world or the density of others as they are trying to find their own way. And we say to you, imagine the biggest hall, the biggest space you can possibly imagine, and it is completely in the dark. There is no windows, no doors, if you will, the biggest cave, and it is in complete black, pitch black. And we say, now imagine that you merely light one candle in the biggest, blackest hall, cave that there is. Regardless of that blackness, of the absence of light, of that deep density, that one candle will impact the entire space. It will be seen by all corners, areas of that space you have created to imagine this statement we are saying to you now. All areas of this darkness will notice and see that one candle. It changes the impact of that one candle, that one light, changes the entire dynamics of that space. It doesn't change the space, but it is observed and perceived by all in that space. The darkness is still there around that candle, but it is changed. It may be dim in some areas, it may be bright in others. And we are saying, if your smile, your attitude, your inspiration, your upliftment, your courage, your strength, your love can be shared to yourself, and then shared to all, you do not need to personally change that darkness. You just need to let it find your light. Feel your light. There is another analogy that we could say. And it is about everyone on this planet having their own journey. Some are lost, and some of those who are lost, their subconsciouses are asking you to reach out as if they are a friend, as if they are a brother or a sister, as if they are soul family. When you see someone that feels dense, that feels lost, you cannot fix them. You can love them and respect them. Casting judgment on them, being afraid of that density that they have. When you're afraid of something, you will become it. When you feel the fear, you are experiencing that fear. You're dropping your frequency vibrations because you're choosing to feel that density. So observe all feelings, observe all energy, but learn the difference between absorbing other people's energy and your own. Keep your balance. Keep observing, not absorbing. There is a difference. And so while you are busy keeping out of fear, we want you to cast no judgment on others. We want you to be fair and love all, consistently to love and respect all. Does not mean you need to be best friends, but you cannot send and think and judge and criticize others. You also need to understand that when you feel that someone when you feel entitled that someone should give you something, and you're feeling very bitter and resentful because you're not getting what you feel that you deserve, this is also casting a tension between the energy of both of you. And the more you demand, it seems that the less likely that person wants to serve and support, because it is draining for them and they do not want or understand the density and the draining of that connection. And again, this is why we say be of service to self, to be able to honor and love and respect and not expect anything from others, because they are needing to focus on their journey. And when you love all and respect all, you are doing no harm. There are many that want to help everyone and they are avoiding their own inner work. They are teaching others their fear-based information. They are teaching others their limited perspectives because they do not know any better or different, because they have done no true inner work for themselves. So they are sharing and often repeating and parroting misinformation as if this is a way to advance others. And we are saying check your egos with this, because your out-of-date disinformation no longer serves you or others that you are trying to force to hear your information. This is significant. And many do not understand that the information that they are sharing is from an ego-based perspective and not a metaphysical perspective where there is good for all. And we see many influencers still sharing fear-based information that makes you quiver and panic. And we say, when does your faith and trust in us, your teams that you chose to support you on this life, why is it that you trust 3D people, humans, more than your own collectives, more than your own soul family, who are watching and supporting you from advanced dimensions, who know all agendas? You must start learning to have faith and trust in us. But when you distract yourselves with listening to fear-based information, you are turning your back on us. You're turning your back on self and blindly trusting. And we see many are addicted to triggering their own adrenaline system. And this gives you an artificial high, an adrenaline rush. And many of you are loving and seeking this disinformation, the tragedies, the traumas, because you enjoy the adrenaline that flows through your bodies. You are not realizing what it does to your frequency. And this is something we would like to address further, because we see this as problematic for those who are purposely adrenaline seeking. This is not a spiritual high. This is something else. And the body actually is in what is unrecognized for many is a state of deep fear and shock. Terrified does not make you high frequency. But when your blood is pumping and you are getting the adrenaline hit in your, what you perceive as your brain and your mind, your body is in deep despair and shock. It is quite a traumatizing experience and a hard jolt to your systems. There is sometimes a necessary awakening, but for those who are constantly wanting to hear disturbing news, get off on violence, get off on, we can't even express the range of choices people use to throw their bodies into disarray energetically, to simply stimulate the gland. We say many people can die of shock because it is, it can be overdone. The body will shut down because it's a nervous wreck and you are frying electrically your physical body because you are energy, you are currents. And when you do things like that, you can put circuitry stress within your systems, and this can literally fry, short circuit your electrics in your systems. This is not advisable. And we know that many of you have judged those who have used such drugs as adrenochrome, and yet you do not realize that you are triggering your own adrenal systems to be able to have a similar experience. We find it very hypocritical what humans do to each other and think about each other and cast judgment on each other. And this is not us judging, this is us observing behavior. We have shared so much information, and yet it gives us a bewilderment, confusion, a great sense of confusion when we see people listening to this information but yet cannot apply it, or when they have to consider new information that suddenly gets told to them by someone who is fear-based. They lose all concept and belief systems, and they lose trust and faith of what we have said. And we see people almost starting back from zero over and over and over again because they cannot see the disinformation. When some influencer will say that you're a victim and that you are needing to be afraid of something, this should be the biggest alarm for you. But instead, you take their worry and warning with great sincerity, and you do think that you are vulnerable. we feel like we have repeated ourselves time again about you are not alone. You are always protected. It is life contracts. Use your free will wisely. Respect your higher frequency and do not play in the density of fear. If this is just for entertainment, know the difference between entertainment and seeking out that entertainment information versus preparing yourself for something that is very significant and important. And if you are draining and wearing yourself down, will you truly be ready for what is to come? We are pushing people away who should not be listening to this information anymore because you're not respecting it, you're not applying it, and this is distracting you. So there is much to be said here. We are feeling like we keep questioning ourselves into what should we be doing next to help support those who are supposed to be ready to be able to be of assistance and service to humanity. Because there are some significant roles that need to be played out. And we're seeing people not wanting to step up, not wanting to take on the responsibility to help others, and at some point, barely helping themselves. So we're waiting on all, and we're waiting on many to be able to do their responsibilities, their duties. And we see many people choosing to use their free will to distract themselves and to make many excuses why they cannot apply this information and live in a higher frequency of just being. They want to distract themselves with worry and fear and distract themselves over and over and over and over again and feel justified to see differences in people. You know that racism is not acceptable because that is judgment. And you also know that when people have made different medical choices from you, that is also judgment if you are criticizing them or seeing them as different. You are all one. You are all the same. And when you are afraid of others, what do you think that does to your frequency vibration? What do you think that does to other people's frequency vibrations? We have said this before and we will say it again. You must be responsible for your energy that you share with the world. Are you the light spreading through darkness? Or are you trying to burn that darkness into deeper despair? You have a choice, and we are watching you all choose your choices. And we feel frustrated with those who are distracting themselves, who are not connecting in with us. They are not spending any time in true solidarity to do meditations, to feel into our frequency, to feel into our messages and guidance. And for those who have been turning their backs on us, we ask you, what left is there for us to do now? What more could we do? This is a significant time. We've told you this. You feel this and you know this. Playing in density for entertainment is not something that we believe and see is a wise use of your free will. When we are maintaining and giving you such high frequency vibrations to keep up your upliftment, and you have expanded your energy frequency vibrations to be able to hold a great deal of higher frequency, so you can be more than just one candle. You can be a lighthouse. And you know the responsibilities of a lighthouse to keep people safe, to keep people guided to the truth, to the light. And while there is still people being attracted to your light, instead of shining love and support out to the world, you are spreading disinformation and fear, judgment and resentment, bitterness, entitledness. When you are the lighthouse, you do not expect things from others. You are it. You are what others need from you. And this can be a lonely existence for a lighthouse because there is no other lighthouses around it. It is in solitude. And this lighthouse chose to be the lighthouse, to keep people safe, to navigate the way. If a lighthouse chooses to not work, to not be of service, lives can be lost. And we say this in dramatics to point out what we're trying to say to you. We knew we would find appropriate analogy to share with you because you do not see or consider those who are lost, who need you. But when you are expecting to be having others boost you up, to love you, this is all something you can maintain amongst yourselves. You know your role. You have every skill set to be that lighthouse. Shine. Choose high frequency vibrations. Choose love. Choose a straight path of faith and trust. And know you are built strong for this. You have the skill sets. You have everything possible to be that lighthouse. When you flicker with insecurities, when you flicker with disinformation, people will get lost because of your choices. You will get lost because of your choices. We understand it's tiring. We see that. But it's because of your choices to know the difference between what is your responsibility and what is not your responsibility is very significant. A lighthouse cannot light the world. It is set in a location of significance. Respect your significance, respect your location, respect your responsibilities. Trying to light above and beyond your responsibilities will drain you. Focus on what is literally around you. There are some people in your life that you are not shining your light on. We are saying to remember who you are and why you are here, and to work on shining, accepting that you naturally are high frequency vibrational, and to remind those who are needing your own light when they have their own lighthouse to maintain, that they need to find their own strength, their own independent strength. Other lighthouses do not need lighthouses to shine on them. They are their own light. You all have your own light. Finding other people's light source is not strengthening and empowering your own. And this is what we are saying. Know who you are. Remember who you are. You all contain strong light capabilities within you. When you focus Let go of the distractions. Grow your faith and trust in self and shine. There is not meant to be one lighthouse to serve all. You were all meant to serve all. But when you're still seeking support from others, love from others, you are taking from others because you can support yourself. You can love yourself. You can love yourself the best way ever for your own needs instead of expecting others to do this for you. That is your inner work. Be confident in who you are. Being resentful for things that people are not giving you is part of your inner work. We see all of you as potential amazing lighthouses to lead the way, to shine the light, to shine high frequency vibrations everywhere you go. The bonus, the blessing, the gift that you are the lighthouses, and when you step into your full role as lighthouses, you feel fantastic, enlightened, empowered, strong, confident. You are helping all because you've helped yourself to step into your role, to step into your power, to share love and light to all and not expect it to be returned. It's unconditional. Remember why you are here. Remember who you are. When you remember you're very capable of doing this, you will drop your excuses and your challenges. You've all been hurt to remind you and to teach you to be self-sufficient. You've all had your troubles and challenges to fully empower self, to rely on self, to be self-empowered, to trust self, to know the difference between what a broken person feels like versus an uplifted, empowered person. Know the people who need your light versus those who have their own. We feel that this is an urgent time because the more you step into your empowerment, the more you remember yourself and why you were here to be of service, the easier this is going to be for those who are lost. You feel those who are lost, and for some, you are partly lost yourselves. Heal yourself from those pains, those emotional pains you still carry. Those deep wounds no longer serve you. Those were lessons for you to learn how to empower yourself to grow, to recognize other people's wounds, to respect that everyone has wounds for themselves. There is no one walking here who has not had wounds for themselves. Do not expect wounded to help you. You must help yourself first to then help others. See who you are still relying on to give you what they possibly cannot give for themselves. See your expectations. Take a moment. Be honest with yourself. Be honest with your agenda for what you need and what you seek, what you give to others, and what you try to take from others. This is significant. Be self-sufficient in all of the best ways for you to be able to empower yourselves completely, to then be able to be of service. We appreciate your efforts as much as you appreciate our efforts to keep sending you higher energy when you're ready to be of service. And for those who are physically struggling and stuttering with this energy we are providing for you, it is because you are holding on to things that no longer serve you. Our soul families are requesting this from you. Respect them. Respect us. Respect self. We are all one, and we have crucial parts to play. We say this with much love. This is a significant time. We repeat, this is a significant time. Nothing that has happened to you qualifies you from not stepping up and being of service. And we say this with much love.